Congressman Jim Renacci, nice enough to join me here for the next few.
And now, 5 good minutes.
And this is Bill Wills in Washington, Congressman Jim Renacci. Congressman, first of all, I appreciate your time. Thanks much.
Good morning, Bill. How are you?
I'm good, pal. A couple things I want to get to. Number one, before we get to the budget, I would note that you got a pretty good subcommittee job, it looks like, helping out with financial protection, vice chair of the Financial Institutions Subcommittee. Tell me about that responsibility here, first of all.
Well, it's a great opportunity, and again, my background being a CPA and being in business and being on a bank board and just understanding the industry, I think that was much of the reasons why I was able to get the vice chairmanship position. But for me, it's pretty interesting because it's a position where I can step in and understand many of the things they're talking about. And I think so far we've had a number of hearings. I've asked some pretty specific questions, and I think people are starting to say, hey, here's a guy that understands the issues.
You know, Congressman, it's a good reminder, I think. We see you guys on C-SPAN making speeches, but let's face it, the bulk of legislative work is done at the committee and subcommittee level, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is amazing how much time I spend in committee and subcommittee and just zeroing in on banking and banking issues especially. I mean, the other day somebody asked me an issue unrelated to banking, and I said, if you would see how much time I spend in this subcommittee and committee, but it's necessary. We have so many things going on in this country that you have to break them down in all these different areas.
Let's get to the budget. You were sworn in, you and the rest of the Congress sworn in, and the last Congress didn't leave you a budget. Basically, they didn't do their job, if you will. We've had these continuing resolutions. It's been going back and forth on a cut here or there, and Jim, to me, we're talking pennies, and we ought to be talking hundreds of dollars if you look at your home budget, if you will.
Yeah, I would agree, but Bill, here's the thing, and you hit the nail on the head. We wouldn't even be talking about this continuing resolution. A lot of people confuse it with the budget. The continuing resolution is the spending for just the rest of this year, just until September 30th. And if last year's Congress would have passed the budget, we wouldn't be doing this. But because they didn't, you have to authorize spending on an ongoing basis. Now, the House of Representatives spent a lot of time, and one Friday night all the way into Saturday morning at 4:30, we came up with a $61 billion cut for the rest of this year, which just takes us through July. And we did a lot of work. It was an open process. Everybody had their opportunities to speak, and ultimately we have pushed that out there. It was not accepted by the Senate. As you're aware, the Senate threw back a $6 billion cut. And the president, of course, wants to hold everything as is. So we are moving forward at increments, which we don't like, but we are cutting. The $61 billion cut that we sent to the Senate represents $2 billion a week. And so far, we're moving at $2 billion a week incremental cuts.
Congressman, not just Republicans, Democrats as well have come out in the last week or two. There was a letter sent by several senators, Democrat and Republican, to the president saying, look, you need some leadership. We need to know where you're at right now on these continuing resolutions.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's come down to this. You know what? I've said this in the business world many times. You first have to cut out the donuts before you can cut the big things, and we're having trouble cutting the donuts. Now, it's not we, because the Republican House has said $61 billion, and we can't get the Senate or the president to tell us what you want to do, because we've already told you what we want to do, $61 billion.
All right, shutdown. I know this gets emotional in the headline and all, and we know Gingrich and Clinton years ago, but at the end of the day, that's still a card that can be played, can't it?
Yeah, but you know what? As a business owner, I'm not too sure shutting down anything is the right answer. When you shut down, the problem still exists. When you shut down, the national deficit still kicks ticking away. You know, there are a lot of people out there say, well, if you shut down, you cut major expenditures. The government still is going to operate. Essential expenditures are going to occur, and we just got to get this fixed. We got to get people to sit down and realize, you know, it's interesting, Bill, you're starting to hear the president say we need to cut. That's a big move from just a few months ago. You're starting to hear the Senate say we've got to cut. So we're starting to move, but we got to move a little quicker.
All right, finally, Congressman, the current resolution then goes through, what is it, April 8th?
Yes. Yep.
We
have a resolution until April 8th.
All right, you think you just have another extension, or what do you think?
Well, again, we have proposed $61 billion in cuts. That's $2 billion a week. We do not want to continue down this path of $2 billion a week. We're hoping that the Senate and the President come back with something that we can look at between now and then. But quite frankly, if we don't continue to cut, I know this House is going to continue to want to move at least $2 billion a week.
Congressman Jim Renacci, busy morning ahead of you. Thank you for your time. Thanks for checking in this morning, okay?
Thank you, Bill.
Take care.